Hello students, in our previous video, we have discussed the impact of migration. Now coming to our next topic, that is brain drain. Now what is brain drain? It is nothing but the process in which the most educated and talented workers of a country migrate to other countries. So why do they do this? The reason for this could be more favorable geographic, economic or professional environment in the country to which they have migrated. This trend is considered a problem. This trend is considered a problem when the most highly skilled and competent professionals leave their native countries and prove beneficial to the economies of other countries. Now we shall discuss the causes of brain drain. The main causes include seeking employment or higher paying jobs, political instability, and to seek a better quality of life. The majority of migration is from developing to developed countries. Now coming to the impact of brain drain. Brain drain has both negative as well as positive effect on society. First, talking about negative impact. It leads to loss of tax revenue, shortage of skilled workers, loss of economy, and many more. The positive impact are very few. The people who move to developed countries learn new skills and technology when they return to their home country. And second positive impact of brain drain is the boost in the economy of home country. That is, the money that the migrants earn, they send back home, which benefits the economy of home country. So the drawbacks of brain drain are more than its benefits. To prevent this, our government should follow certain steps. First, higher wages should be given to the deserving people. There should be better educational system. The country can also work towards creating a safe environment. With this, we have completed this chapter. Now, according to syllabus, we will discuss the political map of India. Children, as you all know, India is divided into 29 states and 7 union territories. We will start locating these states and union territories one by one on the map. First, we will start with the states in the north. In the north, we have Jammu and Kashmir at the top. Below Jammu and Kashmir, we have Punjab and Haryana. Then we have Himachal Pradesh. Below Himachal Pradesh, we have Uttarakhand, which was earlier the part of Uttar Pradesh. Then we have Uttar Pradesh. Next to Uttar Pradesh, we have Bihar. Coming to the west, we have Rajasthan. Then we have Madhya Pradesh at the center of India. Below we have Jharkhand, which was earlier the part of Bihar. Then we have West Bengal at the right side of Jharkhand. Heading towards northeastern states, we have total 7 states. We have Tripura. Next to it is Mizoram. Above Mizoram is Manipur. Above Manipur is Nagaland. Above Nagaland, we have Arunachal Pradesh at the top. Then we have Assam. Then we have Meghalaya. At the top, there is a small state, that is Sikkim. Coming towards south, we have Orissa on east coast. Then we have Chhattisgarh, which was also part of Madhya Pradesh earlier. In the west, we have Gujarat. Below Gujarat, there is Maharashtra on the west coast. In 2014, India got its 29th state, that is Telangana, which was earlier a part of Andhra Pradesh. Now we have smallest state in India, that is Goa. Then we have Karnataka and then Kerala in the south. On right side of Kerala, we have Tamil Nadu. So these are total 29 states. Now coming to union territories. The capital of Punjab and Haryana, that is Chandigarh, is the first union territory. Now we come to the capital of India, that is Delhi, is the second union territory. Now we will come towards west side. There are two union territories, that is Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Now next one is Puducherry, that is in Chennai. The two islands, that is Andaman and Nicobar in the east and Lakshadweep on the west, are also the union territories. So children, practice all these states and union territories in one political map of India. Color and label it properly and then paste it in your file. Thank you.